Hello and welcome to another 1 vs 1 casted game in Wars of Liberty. In this match, I am playing against Bondar. He's playing as the Central Americans and I am playing as the Romanians. Okay, so now we can start the game and have a look at what happens. Also, this map looks quite nice, I would say. We have two trading roads, so yeah, we could try to go for some TPs in this game. We'll see if anybody decides to do that. Okay, so Romania. Let's talk a little bit about Romania. After that, we can talk a little bit about Central America as well. From Romania, you start out with a landowner's investment. It's basically a wagon, which you can use for scouting, but it doesn't have very high line of sight because I guess the developers did not really want it to be used for scouting too much. And also this wagon slowly loses HP, meaning you have to get it up at a decent time, otherwise it will become very low and can just be destroyed by the enemy explorer, for example. So with the Romanians, you age up not through your town center, but instead through your buildings. Meaning that you can constantly train villagers from your town center, and then you can get the age up from a building. It also costs the normal costs. So basically in age 2, 800 food, in age 3, 1200 food and 1000 coin, and so on. It's just a standard cost. Okay, so we can see I'm going for the artillery foundry. And the thing is, depending on what building you go for, you can you get different age up benefits, I guess, different rewards for aging up. And I decided to go with the artillery foundry because you get 400 coin from the artillery foundry if you age up from there. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. You can also go for like 400 wood, which would be even better, but you have to get, I think it's like the livestock pen to get the 400 wood, and the livestock pen costs only 100 wood, while the artillery foundry costs 300 wood. So you also have to consider that. Also, artillery foundry is very useful. I can make mule artillery. So yeah, I decided to go for the artillery foundry. So now I'm of course herding, and especially when playing against Bondar, I know herding is important because he's a player that likes to raid a lot, especially with the Central Americans. So I know I have to try and get as many animals close to my town center as possible. We can also see that I have now sent my first shipment, one Vaudon with 2 gypsies. Okay, I really don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, I'm just going to pronounce it like that. And yeah, so basically those guys are like Roma and Sinti, and I guess they were also called gypsies, or still sometimes called gypsies, but I think it's a little bit, it's like not the nicest way of calling them, so yeah, but okay. So yeah, we got the gypsies, and the thing is with them that they gather slower when they are close to a town center. Also, they trickle experience when they work. So yeah, villager gathers resources, trickles experience and constructs buildings, works slower when near your town center. Normally they have like a symbol that shows you that they're gathering slower, but right now they don't have it, interestingly. And yeah, here from this Vaudon I can also train the gypsies, and it supports 10 population, and supports 10 population. And you can also garrison your villagers in this Bondar. And as you can see, it also has 50% range melee resistance, so it is very helpful. When an enemy tries to raid you, you can just send them in and save them. And yeah, so we have also gotten 4 cows, which can definitely be very helpful to boost our economy when we need it. Because at some point those food sources will run out, and then the cows will be very helpful, as we also gather very quickly from them. So yeah, here you can also see I'm aging up. It's like some important person from Romania, a politician or something like that. And yeah, also, as you can see, the fact that I'm able to produce from my town center as well as my Vodon means my economy is very strong with Romania. Especially the longer the game goes, the stronger my economy will become, because the shipment is only 2 villagers, so it's a little bit less than normal, but you can of course train more, so it will pay off over the long run. So let's have a look at Central America as well. Basically, they have one of those special villagers here, and they make nearby villagers basically gather faster. And they can also build natural resources. They can build mines, they can build trees, I think, and they can also build like berries. So you can just gather natural resources the whole game pretty much. And also, your villagers gather longer from natural resource. They are able to get more out of every natural resource. So your economy becomes pretty strong with this civilization when you just continue making your villagers, especially when you get your market upgrades that increase your gather rates from natural resources. Then your economy becomes very strong as well. Okay, we can see Bondar aged up the Town Hall wagon and the Confederates. So yeah, with the South American civilizations or the Latin American civilizations, to which the Central Americans count, they can age up with immigrants when they age up, and in this case the Confederates were chosen. You can then get a colony of your immigrants, and there you can get units as well as unique tax for shipments. So very strong and nice supportive thing that the South Americans or Latin Americans have. Okay, we can also send this card being sent. This is Caudissimo, and basically this card enables you to train your outlaws with them costing less population, and you also get a second Caudillo, which is basically the unit from where you build your outlaws. So you can see he's definitely going for those outlaws. And the thing is with the Central Americans, but also all Latin American civilizations, is that you can always have your outlaws in every match. You always have the same outlaws in every match, and those are trained from the Caudillo. Here we can see the Caudillo. So yeah, they also have very strong multipliers against mercenaries as well as heroes, but they can easily be overwhelmed if you just have enough units, because yeah, they don't have too many stats. So they're just mostly meant for just training outlaws. And here we can see the first outlaws coming to attack me. Maniosos. They are kind of like coyote runners a little bit, but slower. And they have melee resistance. Okay, we can see he's attacking me. He's able to make me run. I wanted to herd those animals to my base, but now I have to run. But as you can see with this Vodon, I can easily save my villagers. So if you use this well, it can be very good to counter raids. And now we can see a little bit the problem that I'm feeling is that I have to defend myself in my base. I am boxed in my base. So it's hard for me to gather the natural resources that are on the map, like those animals here. So I have to also gather the berries, which I'm doing now, but I'm thinking, okay, it's okay. My economy is extremely strong with Romania, as I get so many villagers from this Vodon, as they also trickle experience, and as I'm able to continuously train villagers even when aging up. So I should have the villager lead. I have 29, 30, Bondar is only 18, now 19. So it's 11 villager lead. Of course, he has the bonus of this carretero, meaning that his villagers also gather faster, so that's also something. But generally, Romania has one of the strongest economies in the game, especially in the later stages of the game, when you are able to get your farms up. The farms of the Romanians and also the other Balkan civilizations, once you get all of their upgrades, they are the fastest way of gathering resources, I think, pretty much in the game. So that's why I'm also starting to get my tech here, the farmers market. With the Balkan civilizations, it's also the case that you have to always get a tech to make your other upgrades, your other market upgrades available. So now I have to research this tech, and now I have my next tier of market upgrades here. So yeah, we can also see the units of Bondar are quite strong. He has these Kachurekos, something like that. Basically skirmishers with 23 damage. So very strong skirmishers basically. And yeah, I am now using mule artillery. I'm basically using Musk artillery, Musk Falk in H2, which is quite strong. And here I'm continuing to train. Also sending 700 coin. So I'm just trying to defend myself. Also got a temple for more experience. I'm just boxing myself in. I know I should have the economical advantage, especially when I'm able to get my farms out. The longer the game goes, the better it is for me. Now I get my second Bondar, so I can double train villagers. However, they don't have a very high train limit. You can only make 12 once you have shipped those shipments, or at least this shipment. Because every time you ship a shipment, the limit of your gypsies is increased, but the limit of your normal villagers is decreased. So you can decide how much you want to shift into gypsies. And the thing is with them, of course, they gather slower from your town when they're near to your town center. But they also trickle experience. So I think they're definitely quite helpful, and you can of course also train them from your Bondar as well, so it's quite good for economy. Okay, so here we have a important fight going on. Bondar is pushing me. He's trying to get his cavalry-like units on my artillery pieces. He's not really having too much success at the moment. My musketeers are in melee. However, now he's able to get one, because I made a mistake here. I should have just kept running away instead of trying to fight his skirmishers. I should have just waited until my musketeers had killed all of his guys, and then I could focus his skirmishers, because now all of my mule cannons are gone. And I do not have the resources to train them. They cost 200 food and 100 wood. So it's a pretty dangerous situation. However, I still haven't lost too many villagers. I maybe have lost like one villager. Maybe one villager. So I still have the villager advantage. Bondar has 24, I have 38. So I have 14 villagers advantage. So I know I just have to survive right now. But Bondar is doing a good job right now. He's attacking me, trying to keep my villagers away from working. I cannot gather from the berry bushes, and it's annoying for me. I don't have any food at the moment, so it's hard for me. But what's kind of saving me here is that I know I have those cows. Otherwise, I would have to try and sneak some villagers over here. However, Bondar does a very good job of raiding you when you do something like that, so I'm not doing that. I know it's very risky to do that. And of course I know I have the cows, so that's what's kind of saving me here, honestly. And now I'm also shipping an interesting shipment. This one, it makes my gypsies gather faster when they're close to the Vordons. I honestly don't even know how much the gather rate is increased, but I think it's pretty good, so Vololo. It also increases their hit points by 25%, which is also helpful against raids. And now finally I'm able to eat from the cows. Also, I'm starting to get my wheat fields up. So before you've gotten any upgrades for them at the market, you can only have one gather from them. But the more market upgrades you get, the more villagers can gather from them. I think in the end it's like 5 villagers, because I think there are like 4 upgrades, so plus 4, and then you have 5. Okay, so I'm trying to get another artillery foundry up, because now I finally have the food. However, Bondar has now destroyed my artillery foundry, so I'm not able to train any artillery pieces, and I'm kind of struggling. He's doing a good job of disrupting me, gathering from the cows, annoying me, not allowing me to get artillery foundry up. And I'm trying, I wanted to get it up here, but now his invisible Maniosos have arrived, because yeah, they can turn invisible. So it is definitely not easy for me. So if you have a look at Bondar's economy at the same time, he is mostly focusing everybody on coin. But still, you have to consider his villagers have a faster gather rate with those villagers that boost the gather rates. He also gets more from natural resources, so his economy should also be looking pretty good. But the villager advantage is still pretty good for me, and I do have those cows now. Those cows honestly are saving me right now, because otherwise I would struggle with food. Because yeah, before I get my upgrades for the wheat fields, the gather rates from those fields are very slow, so they couldn't really save me. Without the cows I would be pretty much dead at this point. Okay, so yeah, Bondar's just trying to siege down my barracks. I mean, I think honestly this, you could say this might be a mistake, honestly, because I don't want to make more musketeers. I want to make artillery pieces now to counter his guys. Of course, I could also make like crossbow units, skirmish units that I also have. They are pretty weak, but I could also make them to fight against him, but... And of course he doesn't know what resources I have and all that stuff, but yeah. Also, now I'm able to age up even. My economy is up completely insane at the moment with those cows that I'm able to eat at the moment. I've got insane amounts of resources and able to age up. And also something that I've not told you yet. With Romania, you have this special bonus that basically makes your age up cheaper when you get any tech. So it doesn't matter what kind of tech you get. Any tech you get, it makes your age up a little bit cheaper, like 3%. So not too much, but it still is nice. It basically means you can get all of your market techs and it will decrease your age up cost. So all you want to do with Romania, just chill, defend yourself, make some musketeers and some artillery pieces, survive. Your economy will become very strong, and you are also getting all of your market upgrades. This also helps your economy even more. You can also get some upgrades like increased line of sight from here, which is very interesting. It's also fun. It helps you. Look at my line of sight at the moment. It's very high for buildings, I would say, because I've gotten those tags here. And yeah, also my resource, absolute insane amounts of resource right now. Just from those cows basically. But now the problem is, I need units to defend myself. I don't have any artillery pieces. I kinda wasted my artillery pieces. So considering that I have so much food and coin, I now decide to start making cavalry. And the Romanians, they have very interesting cavalry units. So basically, this Calaras. It costs only 1 population. However, it has very, very low amounts of hit points, very low. Meaning basically that they can easily be shot down by those skirmishers. Even if you had lower numbers, they could easily be shot down. Okay, I just had to pause for a second, but now we are back. Okay, I was talking about the fact that the cavalry units can easily be shot down by the skirmishers, and yeah, that's the case, but still, they have very high attack. Let's have a look at the stats. 27 attack. Okay, honestly, this doesn't sound very high at the moment, to be honest, only 27, but considering they are a 1 population unit and they are very cheap, it's pretty good. But honestly, basically in the early game, they are not the best cavalry units. But in the late game, they become very, very strong, because you can get a bunch of upgrades for them, which in the end will give them insane amounts of damage. And you can spam them very quickly once your economy gets going. So you can easily destroy artillery and skirmish units with this unit. And you can even fight other cavalry units very efficiently with them. And yeah, Bondar's trying to deal some damage to contain me a bit. But now I've already aged up. He doesn't really have a lot of resources. He has 31 villagers, I have 43, so 12 villager advantage for me. And okay, I'm not yet on the field, so that's good for him, I guess. It's good for him that I don't have the upgrades yet for the fields. Because once Romania gets on the fields with the upgrades, the economy becomes absolutely insane and it's very hard to stop them at all. And just insane how many resources I have at the moment. I need to try and get more units out. And honestly, yeah, it's not good that I have so many resources in the bank and not using them. It makes those fights very close and a lot worse than they could be. Still, I'm trying to micro a bit with my cavalry units, try to move around, annoy him, run away from the pikes, split them up, but now he's doing a good job of killing them. I also have 2 shipments, so I'm kinda focused on this fight right now, struggling to manage the other stuff, but now I have started making 5 mule artilleries. They will be very helpful, because Bondar mainly uses not artillery, but infantry. Now I'm kinda trying to raid. Let's see what we will be able to achieve with this raid. Maybe we can kill this 1 villager. And this is something that I did not see during the game, but Bondar had to run away with all of those villagers. I mean, I could have seen it, or maybe no, I think I didn't really see it. But yeah, the fight is still continuing. I am kind of having the problem, I have a bunch of villagers, but I'm struggling to put them on the resource I want them to go to. Because still, I cannot really gather from those food sources. I can't really gather from those, so I'm kind of contained in my base still. Now I'm getting a skirmisher shipment. Those skirmishers have very high HP, decent damage, and a little bit less resistance. Basically, yeah, that's the thing, they have less resistance, but more HP. So they are basically better against melee units as well. They can tank a little bit more. Or against siege units as well, like artillery pieces. Even though against them it likely wouldn't make too much of a difference. But the fight is still pretty close at the moment. I'm honestly struggling to stabilize at this point. My economy is very much not being managed very well. Here also an interesting guy. This is basically the Minuteman. This was my Minuteman badge. Basically a strong guy with a gun. But I'm able to hold on, which is very important. I just need to hold on. Of course, once I'm able to get my economy correctly sorted out, then I will become very strong. And I'm still messing around a little bit with Bondar. That's actually quite helpful for me. Look at his resource. He's struggling. All of his villagers are idle at this moment. And I have very high amounts of resource. However, I only have wood. So I'm also struggling. We have both annoyed ourselves very much. So not allowed us to gather resource freely. But now I kinda realize something. I have so much wood. And I'm struggling to gather from the natural resource because I don't have the map control and I have to be scared. So I just realized that I can just start making town centers. Very helpful. I can then create even more villagers. I will have a bunch of line of sight. I can protect my villagers. And I have the resource for it. So now I just spam out a bunch of town centers. I send a few more units and now also a fort. And my plan is to soon also get out a few more farms. That's why I also got the market back up. Because, as I said earlier, here I can get my farm upgrades. And they will be very, very strong once I get them. Okay, now I have 3 TCs and I already have so many villagers anyway. Even getting a tower house. I don't want any risks. I know I have the wood. I know I will win the game if I'm just able to protect my economy, protect my villagers. So I don't care that I'm using those resources right here, that I'm having my villagers not gather resources while they're building it, because I know my economy is still so much better. And once it gets going, there's no stopping my economy. Bondar, he's still H2. This is kind of the problem when you do strategies like this one, and that can happen. It's very hard for you to age up, because your whole economy is on coin and you're just trying to constantly make units that are very strong, but they will struggle against a well-balanced and an army that is supported by a strong economy. They will struggle against units also that are upgraded while they are still unupgraded. So I'm feeling very confident right here. And here the classical Bondar move, he's trying to raid me with those Maniosos. However, now he sees this TC. And he knows, okay, damn, I can't raid here. My army still consists mainly of mule artillery and musketeers. I have not yet upgraded them because I felt like I needed to manage my economy more, get the fields up, get the villagers, and maybe I've already gotten 1 market upgrades for the fields. Also I got my fort up, and I felt like I don't really want to push anyway. I'm fine at this moment, I don't have the resource, so I didn't get any upgrades yet. Okay, now I think I start getting another mining upgrade, of course, but also my first upgrades for the fields. And once I start getting them, of course, then it will become very strong. Now I finally start getting my military upgrades, and my economy is looking very, very good at this moment, because I'm able to also gather a bit from the animals, and soon I will be able to get villagers on the fields. And of course I still have too much wood, but that's just something in this game that's hard to change, honestly, because Bondar has done a very good job of being a danger on the map. And I'm still fine with having this much wood. Which I could definitely do right now is to try and get a few more fields up. But yeah, now the first upgrade, fine, kind of through. Bondar's trying to siege this a bit. I don't think he really thinks he can take it out. Or maybe he thinks he can take it out with those guys, or he's just trying to annoy me a bit, get some damage done somehow. Because here I have a TC, here I have a TC, I have the towers up. So it's very hard for him to deal any damage to my economy. Look at the score. I didn't look at the score pretty much the whole time right now, but I have pretty much doubled the score. And this just shows this strength of the Romanian economy, but also just the fact that you get so many techs with them, and that your H-ups become cheaper, because that is very strong for the score, of course, when you get all of those techs and the cheaper H-ups. Here I also got some dragoons, which basically counter those cavalry units, I guess. And here I could also talk a little bit more about the... interesting new stuff that was introduced in War Stability. Basically these guys, they are assault units, not scout units. Hussars, for example, would be scout units. And what is very normal for assault units is that they have high melee resistance, but no ranged resistance. Scout units have ranged resistance, but no melee resistance normally. So scout units are more effective against skirmishers, but those maniosos, those assault units, are more effective against mixed enemy armies, also against musketeers. Some assault units even have multipliers against line units, which are basically the musketeers. They are line units now, not heavy infantry. And yeah, this kind of makes it a little bit more, yeah, just a little bit new stuff, I guess, and you kind of have to figure that out. I personally think it's quite interesting and nice. There are also other people who don't like those changes. For me, it's fine. Also another thing, the Carabiniers, they're basically my dragoons. They do not counter all cavalry units. They do not counter all shock units, which is basically the new word for cavalry unit. They only counter assault units at range. Meaning that scout units are able to tank a lot more from those dragoons and are not countered as hard. However, in melee, the dragoons counter all, not all shock units actually, but they counter assault units and scout units. So yeah, you kind of have to think about when to really use your dragoons, because against scout units they would not be too effective. Okay, so we still have the same problem from Bondar. He is imprisoned in H2. Well, my economy is slowly but surely becoming very strong. Another upgrade for my fields, those domestic cats. I guess they can stop the rats or the mouses, eat them, and therefore boost our gather rates. And now we can have 2 villagers on the fields. And actually now we can have 3 villagers on the fields, as I just got the next upgrade. So my economy is becoming stronger and stronger behind this. My villager count is very high, 73. He has 43. And he still has H2 outlaw units, which are strong generally. And they can hold on against H3 units. But my economy is just getting stronger and stronger. That's the problem for him. And he's not able to destroy me. I'm just able to defend with my fort, with my towers, with my TCs. And it's looking quite tough for Bondar. Now he actually has some pikemen outlaws. All of these outlaws cost 2 population for him. But he can actually get a few techs and a card later, and then those skirmishers only cost 1 pop. I'm not sure if the pikemen can also only cost 1 pop, but yeah, the outlaws are definitely very strong with the Central Americans. Okay, now I have lost my TC, but honestly it's not too much of a big deal. I do, however, want to rebuild this to just get more vision again. I have the resources, so that's something that I should try and do, but it will not be too much of a big deal. I now have my army here, so I can defend my economy on this side. And Bondar did a good job because before he was on this side attacking me here, then he moved to this side. So he's trying to kinda use his mobility because I have artillery, so I'm less mobile, and to try and somehow get any damage done. I think I lost like one villager right here again, but that's just not enough. I mean, honestly, even if I lost like 20 or 30 villagers, once the field economy gets going, it is just insane. And I mean, honestly, the thing is with the villagers, before I get the upgrades for the fields, the villagers are worth a lot less. So even though I have like 73 villagers, and this is absolutely insane generally, once I get my field upgrades, it will exponentially become a lot stronger. And also, let's have a look at my deck. And you will notice in H3 I have a good amount of units, but generally my deck has a lot of upgrade cards, and especially economical upgrade cards. Because I know that with Romania, I think I can survive without too many unit shipments in the beginning. And even if I lose a few villagers, I'm fine with that. As long as I can somehow survive and get my upgrades for the fields, get my shipments for the fields, then I know that my economy will just become unstoppable. And with Romania, I never or very rarely try to rush the enemy or end the game quickly, because I know in the late game it's very likely that I'm going to win as Romania if I'm able to keep at least some parts of my economy alive, and if I'm able to go into this field transition. And yeah, now I'm also beginning to train some more skirmishers. And definitely something that I could and should have improved is my economy management at this point. I should have put more villagers on wood, on food. I should have put more villagers on those fields right now. But I'm just kind of having a bunch of villagers over here, and I don't want to build fields over here because it's a little bit more dangerous than here. And I do feel very confident at this point. My score is so much higher than Bondar's. The army of him is not enough to deal with me. I know he's still H2. I know he's struggling to get to H3. And yeah, he does have a lot of coin, of course, but he's unable to get to H3. And slowly and surely his army is becoming less and less effective. And my economy is starting to really become insane. So slowly but surely this game is being taken out of Bondar's hand. And also these loyal Carabiniers, they're also quite interesting because they are a Dragoon unit that fires double as fast or twice as fast as normal gunpowder units. So they shoot faster, but they deal a little bit less damage. If you basically double up the damage, it's 28, which I think is the same amount of Dragoons, kinda. So they basically have the same damage, but they fire faster, which can be helpful because sometimes the unit overkill, but when they deal less damage and shoot faster, they will overkill less. So it can actually be pretty helpful. I think this is actually better to have a Dragoon that has higher faster rate, except if you are doing hit and run against enemies and you can only get one shot off and you have to run away after that, then actually the other Dragoons could be better. But I do definitely like these Dragoons. I think they maybe have a little bit less HP as well, but they are also cheaper, so quite good. Yeah, at this point, Bondar is just struggling to counter my army. I have the Dragoons to counter his assault units. I have my skirmishers to fight against his skirmishers. I also have the artillery to fight against his skirmishers. So my army is just a lot stronger than his. Bondar, he has his explorer here, a few pikemen, and his economy. I have not really killed too much of his economy or anything like that, but I know I don't have to. I mean, look at his economy. He's just struggling with his economy at this point, while my economy is becoming very, very strong. At this point, I might want to get some coin fields. I think it's like strawberries, so that I can increase my coin income. But at this point, I'm just thinking, okay, I can just spam food and wood units as well if I want to. Artillery, the mule cannons. I could also make pikemen basically, which have area damage. Bondar's being a little bit annoying, raiding me a little bit here, but not really able to kill too much. I could just run to the TC if I wanted to. and I have more dragoons here that would soon come to save my villas. Bondar can't really stop my army, so he resigns. Honestly, those mule artillery pieces, they don't have a lot of damage against buildings, as they don't have any multipliers against buildings, meaning that it would take me quite some time with those units to push through his base. So he could have played on a little bit, but honestly it wouldn't have made a difference, because the longer the game goes, the better it becomes for me. My economy is becoming more and more effective, so there was no way of him winning, and I think it's correct of him to resign here. Yeah, I think this was a good match. I think it really shows the Romanian power. And it might seem like Bondar's strategy is not as strong or anything like that, because he was just unable to really take me out with that and I was just able to survive. But honestly, if I did not have the cows right here, I might have been dead in this game. Also, it was a little bit my mistake with the mule artillery micro. I shouldn't have lost all. I should have made sure to save them better and to make more of them before I ran out of food. So it was also a little bit of my mistake here. But still, you were able to see with those outlaws, you can be very strong, especially when you are out on the map early on. When you make the mistake of going out and getting those natural resources, Bondar would punish you immediately with those maniosos, because they can also turn invisible and then just appear, kill all of your units, and then just run away again, all that stuff. So you have to be very careful against Central America, especially when you know they're going for outlaws. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's have a quick look at the statistics. The resources, yeah, I definitely gathered a lot more resources. Bondar spent more on units, but I was just able to defend, and I had H3 units. I also killed more units. Bondar had more units. Makes sense, because he mainly trained infantry. And here we can see, pretty much from the beginning, my economy was better, because, as I said, I was able to just train more villagers. But here you can see how it becomes more steep, because here in the end I was able to get my farms out, and those, I mean, I'm saying it to the the 100th time at this point, but those gather rates are insane from those farms, so my economy would have become even more insane if I had gotten more upgrades and all that stuff. It would have become even more steep. Okay, we can have a quick look at the villager count. Here you can see how strong my villager count was, and you can see I was rarely losing villagers. I had some points where I was not making villagers, but I knew that I was very ahead anyway, and I just need to survive, so I think that's okay. But I could have maybe still improved that. But I think I also didn't have food, so yeah. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next video.